Marissa.
And I'm Jordan. Today, we're going to do a bonus episode about Halloween candy and the dangers and the poisons and the razors.
Since Halloween's coming up, I wanted us to do an episode on the history on how it came about to check your candy for razors and poison.
So yeah, I do remember that in the 80s growing up, there were people teenagers usually putting razors in apples.
I don't believe you.
No, it really happened. Teenagers doing it. It happened with several kids. I remember on the news. You can fact check me. I don't know what happened in America, but I think America had the poison part covered and England had the razor part covered. But you're going to tell us some stories about poison.
One of the first reports of Halloween treats being tampered with in North America was in 1959. A Californian dentist named William Shine gave out 450 laxative lace candies to children.
That seems a bit comical in a way, but it's still children. And just imagine them in their costumes. They're far away from home. They have to run home with diarrhea.
That's still mean, though.
It is mean, but it's not as sinister as razors or poison. So that was the poison?
Well, that was one of them. And then another case in 1964, a 47-year-old mother from Greenland, New York. She handed out bags of treats containing arsenic-laced ant traps, metal mesh scrubbing pads, and dog biscuits. And she said she didn't mean it maliciously. She was just annoyed by the Halloween custom.
Oh, so no malicious intent.
You're just giving out arsenic-laced ant traps.
Yeah, ant traps. These are ant traps like the Roach Motel type things?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Why would you at least open it up? I don't know. Maybe that's what she did.
And she was later committed to a state hospital for mental observation.
As she should. I mean, I'm not being malicious. I just want to do something malicious. Yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy. Another big case is from Deer Park, Texas. An optician named Ronald Clark O'Brien was handing out pixie stick candy. And then later that night, his 8-year-old son died. And when they did the autopsy, it showed the boy had ingested cyanide. So the police managed to recover the poison candy from other children before anyone else ate it. And then they traced it back to O'Brien.
Yeah.
And then he was convicted and executed in 1984.
Seems fair.
He said he was innocent, though. He never owned up to it.
But they traced the pixie stick tubes to his house.
Yes.
And that's, just to clarify for the international audience, that's like flavored sugar in a straw.
A big straw.
Yeah, like a big plastic straw.
3 feet.
Oh, those big ones.
Those really big.
I remember the things called pixie sticks.
There's little tiny ones like the size of a pencil.
Oh.
But these were the big ones.
That's a lot of sugar, though. You're just eating pure sugar.
Oh, I love those when I was a kid. That's why I had silver cap teeth.
Oh, really? You're one of those?
My whole mouth, yeah.
So you must have been a West Side kid.
No, Southwest side.
Southwest. Okay. A few blocks further.
So I guess all these stories kind of made everyone feel that they had to check their children's candy.
Yeah. I remember in England, we were happy like when we went to the elderly neighborhoods because they'd give out pound coins.
Mm-hmm.
And fruits, apples, oranges, bananas, and then you get a pound coin. And you go and you could probably collect anywhere from like 5 to 20 pounds in one night. And as a 7-year-old kid, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's still a lot of money now. Imagine getting like $30 in a night. It's a good night.
Plus candy.
And all you're doing is wearing a black trash bag and a witch hat.
I remember I was about 8 or 9. They took us to the wealthy part of the city.
Yeah.
Because they hand out like the full-size candy bars.
Yeah.
And there was a man wearing a KKK uniform handing out candy.
Yeah, do you know what's funny you mentioned that? That's crazy about the KKK. That's like, he thought it was funny.
Yeah, like, I don't know, maybe. But where do you find a KKK uniform?
Yeah.
Like, you either have to make it or you already have it.
Yeah, in his defense, you're supposed to dress up as something you're scared of. Like Batman, you know.
But they're white.
I know they are. That's a little bit more sinister. I bet it was just his great-grandfather's.
Maybe. I don't know.
So,
I didn't stop at that house.
Have you seen that show Undone?
No.
So it's a show that takes place in San Antonio, Texas. And Bob Odenkirk takes his daughter out trick-or-treating. Bob Odenkirk, the actor.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
His character takes his daughter out trick-or-treating. Well, spoiler alert, kind of. But he leaves his daughter alone for a little bit, right? And then his wife gets angry with him. And he says, "Oh, don't worry about it. We're in Terrell Hills. It's a safe neighborhood." And that's one of the rich neighborhoods, not far from here, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Terrell Hills. And I thought that was kind of funny how he put that on the map. He put San Antonio on the map and mentioned the neighborhood that exists,
I've never heard of that neighborhood.
No, it's just down here. I'll show it to you on the map later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm from San Antonio, and I wouldn't have known that's from here.
Well, it's because I live in this area and you live in a different area. And
Yeah.
you know your area, your surrounding areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's not too far from here. It's a pretty nice little neighborhood, too. And beautiful houses. You've seen them.
Yeah.
You've driven through it, I'm sure.
Your neighborhood's weird because like one block is like $1 million homes, and then the next block it's like run down.
It goes from mansions to like nearly like trailer trash.
Yeah.
Or like these old apartments. The closer you get to the railroad track, but I'm like in the sweet spot where I don't have. It's not real. It's 2 blocks one way. It's like rich people, and 2 blocks the other way is like people who steal my packages from my porch. But But about growing up in England too, we feared razors. That was the only thing, because that was a big thing. But I'm grateful for America for doing trick or treating, because you inspired England to do the same thing, and we were inspired by a few things. Like growing up in England, we didn't have prom, but then my younger sister, they got to have prom. It was inspired by America. So little things like that, America has inspired, like pop culture. And I want to talk about the candy and why you have candy in America. And after reading about it for a few minutes, I found out, here's a little bit of tidbit. So Americans approximately buy about 6 million pounds of candy for Halloween every year. So we talked about the Titanic in one of the episodes. So if you're not sure what that looks like, imagine the Titanic. That weighs about 100 million pounds.
Wow.
So imagine 6 Titanics. And that's how much candy Americans have every Halloween. Or at least
crazy.
Buy and give out. So now I want to talk about the invention. The last episode you did was 1916.
Mm-hmm.
So back in 1916, Christmas and Easter were the majority of the sweets. That's where you got the candy and
the cookies and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was only reserved for usually Christmas and Easter. That's the big candy buying days. They started pitching the idea of Candy Day. It was celebrated on the second Saturday of October. And they sold it as like the goodwill and friendship, hey, everyone enjoy yourselves. And the goal was like to make money. We need another day of the year to sell candy. We got Easter, we got Christmas. We need another, these candy companies need to get rid of this candy. So they invented it Candy Day, and it was renamed later on as Sweetest Day. And that was the 1950s. Well, then they had the Sweetest Day, mid-October, Halloween, the end of October. Well, the end of October is when you did tricks. You went to the houses, they did a trick for you. Now, teenagers are like, they're getting into trouble. How are we going to get them to... Sweetest Day is one thing, but we need to keep them out of trouble. So they started doing trick or treat. So now you can get a trick at the house, or you can get a treat, which is candy, or muffins, or home baked goods, which is usually what it was. Cookies, stuff like that. So they're usually getting like nuts and coins and toys from certain houses, but now they can get a sweet treat. So like busy housewives, they like the idea of the candy giveaway because they have to bake all these goods. I got to bake 500 cookies.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so they got to bake. So instead of that, they could just go out and buy bulk candy.
Yeah, and
give that out. So that's why candy kind of replaced like home baked goods, because it became very popular. And also a little bit of science here, that candy is an innate cool weather urge type of thing that you want to have. There's something about sweets during fall, autumn, that is something in the human psyche that you kind of want. And maybe because it's getting cold and sugar is an energy source.
Maybe. We
gravitate towards sweets, especially October to December, even New Year's, like until then. And we kind of get sick of it.
I'm never sick of chocolate.
Really? I get sick of sweets. I'm not really into sweets as I used to be.
No, I should see a dentist more often.
Yeah. I'm English, so I should do the same thing. I've been to a dentist maybe 12 times in my life.
Yeah, I was always eating candy, and then after my surgery, I haven't eaten any.
Yeah.
So I'm missing it.
Yeah.
You might find me dead one day with just a bag of chocolate next to me, and I just consumed it all.
Diabetic coma.
Yeah.
About sweets, I remember as a kid, you'd say things like, yeah, if I had $1 million, I'd just buy all the candy in the world. And then now you realize as an adult, candy's cheap and kind of gross, and you get sick of it. It literally makes you sick if you have so much. So then you start, that's me. So if I buy chocolate, I buy that really expensive, like $4 bars.
Hell yeah.
Like the dark chocolate with like the sea salt or something in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like. Or I'll have it with like seaweed. I don't know if you've had chocolate and seaweed
No,
together.
I haven't.
I'll get like those little seaweed snacks, little squares, and put that on chocolate and let it sit at room temperature, and it melts a little bit, and then you eat it all at once and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more of a food than it is sweet. So I've gotten away from like the sweet candy into the 90% dark chocolate, cocoa, salted candy, which I like a lot. So I got away from sweets because I get sick of sweets.
Not me.
Yeah, well, you still got a sweet tooth. I kind of got over that. But yeah, that's lots of tidbits. I'm going to call it tidbits from now on.
Stop.
I called it, you didn't like how I called it trivial information.
What you were saying, a bit of trivia.
Yeah, well, trivia means like kind of obscure knowledge. Like it's not really important. It's just kind of like, oh, just something to know. That's what trivia is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's also tidbit. But I don't know the definition of tidbit, so haven't really used it. I need to look up what tidbit means. Do you know I should look it up right now? Oh, so here's a tidbit on the word tidbit. A small piece of tasty food.
Of course, I'd have to use a word like that.
Here's a tidbit. Yeah, because to you it's delicious. Like, oh, here's a little bit of information.
It also says it's a small, interesting item of gossip or information.
Yeah, that's the second definition.
I know.
But we're talking about sweets and food, and it's a small piece of tasty food.
That is so funny.
This episode should be called Halloween Tidbit.
Halloween tidbits.
Yeah.
Don't put tidbits.
I won't. It'll be Tidbit. Tidbit. Never used it. But now that I know it's a small piece of interesting gossip or information, you've been using it completely correctly. I don't know if my definition's correct now. So trivia.
It is. I checked because I wanted to call you out.
So we're both correct. I never said you were wrong. I don't feel confident in using words I don't know the definition of. And so I don't use it. So I'll use what I know. And there's some people, it's like monkey see, monkey do, or monkey hear, monkey say. And they hear someone say something and they kind of know what it means and then start using it wrong. Like the word literally. Someone heard that and they think literally means like literature, which is like fiction. And then somehow they use it for the opposite of what it means. But now because of so many stupid people, and yes, they are stupid, because you could be ignorant, but ignorant is when you don't have the information. You have the internet, so now you're stupid. So stupid people started saying literally in the opposite way it's meant to be used, and now in the dictionary, literally means literally and figuratively. So it means the meaning of what it is and the opposite of what it is simultaneously.
It's called colloquialism.
Okay, and what is the definition of that?
It means your language is used in an ordinary or familiar conversation, not formal or literally.
So it means the opposite of what it means.
Yeah, it's like
the word bad.
It meant this word at one point. It meant this at one point, but now over time people have used it this way, so now it means this.
That's understandable for the word bad, because like that was a bad movie.
That's understandable for any word though.
Yeah, but literally is a definition. It has a definition. We have the word figuratively already. And I know you could argue that bad also means good, but bad is slang. Literally is not slang. That's a word. And people are just misusing it. If they used it as slang, that would mean something different.
But bad wasn't a slang word at a point.
No, it wasn't. And it's still not. It's still a word that
How do we get from Halloween candy to this?
Tidbit. We're talking about tidbits. This whole episode's tidbits.
Oh, Halloween finally falls on a Saturday this year.
That's amazing. And it's the 5th weekend, which is cool too. For those of you that have custody issues, like me. You get your kid for 5 weekends.
But it's COVID and you can't do nothing.
Well, but I'm going to do something. I'm not going to miss out on Halloween.
Do?
We'll do a Halloween from the house. And I'll buy my own candy.
I'll buy my own damn candy.
Yeah. I'll buy what I want. And I'll give it to myself and my daughter, and we're going to have our own Halloween. And the cool thing is we've got Zoom, and we'll have like a house party. I've got a karaoke machine. I've got everything here. We have a good party here. Halloween party. And you're invited. The whole neighborhood's invited. Everyone could just come over, have a big house party.
And
Halloween.
Spread COVID around.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean.
That's this. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a theme.
Ooh.
Yeah. You may play COVID roulette. Will everyone make out with each other? No kids and adults though. We'll draw the line there. Just adults and then kids. Well, no kids making out. You know what? I want CPS called on me. No, don't. Forget everything I said. Let's just erase this episode. It's never gonna
Alrighty.
be released. All 5 patrons.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's another episode of This Year in History, and we talked about the history of candy in Halloween.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.